A new action movie just landed on Netflix. Let's talk about it.
13. Untuk apa kamu ada di sini sekarang?
The movie that I'll be reviewing today is called The Shadows Trace, which dropped on Netflix a couple of days ago, and this quite literally is my favorite action movie of the whole entire year. It follows assassins who are called Shadows, or the Shadows of Death, and our main character is named 13, which is basically her code name in this organization. She gets suspended after a mission goes wrong in Japan, and soon finds herself trying to rescue Monji, an 11-year-old boy who just lost his mother. And that's like the most tame part about this movie, is her trying to rescue this kid. And I want to say, if you don't even give this movie a shot, I don't know if we can be friends. This movie is ruthless, badass, and just metal in all the best ways possible. The first 20 minutes kind of set you up for how insane and action-packed this film will get, because it's just a full-out action sequence that starts the film, and it kind of reminded me of kind of like the John Wick series, because John Wick is known for that, like a lot of action in the movie, a lot of action sequence, fast-paced style. I'm not saying that John Wick invented that style, but it's just what us as Americans are accustomed to nowadays. Like, John Wick is the best action movies that have come out of America in like a long time. And this film is from Indonesia, but if you don't want to watch the subtitled version, Netflix does have a dub option in English and other languages, but I always recommend the original language because it is the best experience. Now let's get back to those first 20 minutes, which introduces you to these Shadows of Death, where they're taking down this clan in Japan and killing them with swords and guns with night vision. I was like, holy crap, we're introducing night vision into this. It's really cool in this first person in this too. And like, a lot of this is just so inventive. And then after that whole scene, you finally get the title card. I'm like, that's when you know you're in for a ride, when the title card drops 20 minutes into the movie. Kind of remind me when we saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 last year. The title card dropped like 30 minutes into that one. I'm like, oh boy, we're in for a ride. And this sure was a ride. I had to catch my breath after those first 20 minutes of killing, just non-stop kills. And thank God the movie lets you catch your breath, because you get some story and transition to 13 helping out this kid. And the narrative is kind of paint by numbers and somewhat what we've seen before in other films, but it is done well and it's engaging emotionally, so I'm not going to fault it for its simple story, because it isn't lazy. And the director of this movie did a great job, and he's actually going to be making Nobody 2 with Bob Odenkirk. I think everyone remembers that film. It came out like 2020. That was like one of the first films to come out during COVID. That was a pretty good film. Bob Odenkirk was great, but now he's going to be directing that. And I'm like, oh my God, that second film is going to kick so much ass. I don't want to seem like this is a perfect movie. It's not really a perfect movie. The thing is, the experience is perfect, and I wish I got to see this in theaters, but of course it just landed on Netflix. But some, like me, might have an issue with the runtime. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It wasn't like a big issue for me. I just felt like some scenes weren't really needed. I think they're just explaining a little bit too much in those sequences. I'm like, I get where we're going. I get what's happening. I don't think we need those scenes. And at the end of the movie, they kind of set up a sequel with the final sequence. And if we don't actually get the sequel, then I don't really see the point of that scene, but I would really be on board with the sequel. I love these characters. The whole ensemble is great, and the stunt work is honestly some of the best I've seen in a long time, but it's Aurora Ribeiro who plays Codename 13, who just makes the whole movie so riveting, not just with her action skills, but also with their emotion in some of these moments, because she does let it out. The camera work is also flawless and perfect, and that's a thing that I look at and try to discuss in action movies, because it's very important. And also the editing here, because some action films have sequences where you can't really follow them because the camera is all over the place and they edit the sequences like 100 times in 1 minute. I'm not even kidding, man. Some of these action movies that we get nowadays have so much edits in them, and I get it. It's the point. They're just trying to make it perfect, but it makes you feel so nauseous. But the camera work in here always stays with the action. The characters are always usually in the middle of the screen, and the camera follows them when they're getting just tossed around the room in the most insane ways possible. And it just keeps you so immersed in the fights. I thought it really worked, and I love when camera work can be so well realized in these just high style action movies. And I don't want to spoil any of the action sequence, but I do want to say that it goes crazy. It goes nuts. There's swords, guns, fists, night vision, and nail bombs. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot they throw at you. And one of the Shadow of Death people came to play in this damn movie, and one of them is massive. Like, there's an actual scene where this massive shadow guy grabs another guy by his head with two of his hands. Like his hands are massive. He's like a basketball player or something. And he squeezes this man's head until his eyes pop out of his skull. I was in shock watching some of these sequences. I was like, oh my god, they're going there, and they literally went there. Overall, The Shadow Strays is my favorite pure action movie of the year. It's exhilarating, ruthless, and just keeps going for the whole 2 hours and 20-minute runtime. It might be exhausting for some, but I was just in awe of all these kills that were unfolding on screen. The camera work and editing works so well that it feels like you're actually in the room during these action sequences. It's mental. I'm going to keep my eyes on these actors for a while because they all really impressed me. I'm going to give The Shadow Strays a strong 9 out of 10. I really do recommend that you all go watch The Shadow Strays. It's on Netflix. If you did, leave your thoughts down below. If you did enjoy my review, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.